Okay. You gonna time this?
Yep.
On a balance.
You were always a very sensitive child, very responsive to signs of approval and disapproval in extreme ways. Like, I never had to yell at you. I could look at you the wrong way, and you would cry.
Is it working?
Not yet.
Okay.
Very kind of a wide open sensitivity there, which made you very easy to parent in some ways, because you very rarely did anything that was wrong. So in other ways, I think it also had the benefit of allowing you to kind of see a deeper meaning in things.
Good morning, guys. We have a package.
So, like, you would interpret song lyrics and want to know what the story was behind the song. And like if you're just listening to music in the car or something, which, as you moved into adolescence, became more of like wondering if people saying things to you were things they actually meant, which kind of flipped back around and became maybe a negative in some ways, because you had trouble trusting that what people said was what they meant. So that's kind of a little context of the background, and then as you moved into adolescence, high school age, there became like a more consistent struggle with depression, anxiety, some obsessive compulsive sorts of behaviors, thoughts, and so on, that started requiring more consistent medication, kind of keeping up with a psychiatrist and a counselor. And that would kind of spike at kind of these critical moments when life was more difficult. Once again, I come for one who doesn't know my name. In the shadows black as night, in darkness of...
What is your previous experience with mental health struggles?
Mine personally?
Yes.
It goes back pretty far. Like as far back as I can remember, I've always kind of had like a lowish mood. Sometimes that got very low. Other times it just kind of, reached what's probably middle for most people. Those two things kind of have been lifelong sorts of struggles for me. Nightmares that you can't recall, in your fears of hell.
The first time I noticed your depression was we start early fall, late summer. Wearing a short sleeve shirt, and I just saw some of the markings on your arm, and I've had experience with other students, family members, stuff like that, and I knew what that meant. I'm like, there's a story, and we'll get to it at some point, but just, I could tell.
Yes.
Wow, I'm lost right now. I feel so very lost.
Like, I could tell in the beginning, you were sitting in the back, and usually in my class, if a student is sitting in the back, they're not going to be paying as much attention. They're not going to do as well. I could also tell you were really interested in this stuff and you were really good at this stuff. So usually I would have put my foot way up in your butt to get you going and everything like that. But with that, I took it easier on you. I was just trying to gradually move you up instead of just being a little bit harsher on you. I've known you now for 2 years, and from some of our conversations, I felt like I had some of the story. It wasn't until I saw a rough cut of this documentary that I really knew the level of it, and it kind of shook me a bit, knowing how much you have struggled and how it's been a tough road for you. And it really got to me because, like I said, you've been in my class for 2 years. You know, when you guys are here, you guys are my kids. You know, I would die for you guys. I would take a bullet for any of you guys. And I'm one of those that I just don't like seeing you guys suffer. And like, I could tell that you had some bad years, and it was just really hard to watch because you're one of the sweetest, kindest students I've had.
I think the first time I noticed it was around the time of, the hospital. I think you were in Nashville maybe, and it was happening.
Yeah, you might have noticed it a little later.
And then that's recurred a few times. But it is kind of interesting in a way, because it's like when you were going through that growth spurt, it's almost like you grew out of a medication dose that you were on. Like you grew like 6 inches and 40 pounds, and then you had a kind of episode where your depression got really bad, your anxiety got really bad, those sorts of obsessive thoughts became more intense, and the self-harm stuff started up again. But then, like, once we adjusted the dosage, it's almost like it settled out and things leveled out, and you kind of came back to normal in a way.
We're practicing unicycling quite a bit, and now
it's weird that maybe like a medication deficit can cause this sort of spinning out.
I got you involved with Decatur Underground Theater a year ago. You've been in 3 shows now, and something that you really like doing. I noticed that you were a little upset last week during our shows of Damn Yankees. You just weren't your normal self, which was weird. I didn't want to really push or anything, because I know that if you need to, if you want to, you will come and find someone to talk to.
That was the same week. This has already been dealt with. I'm okay now.
Mm-hmm.
That was the same week I relapsed,
Mm-hmm.
which is when I guess kind of like take stuff in the right way, because obviously there's a bunch of stuff going on, and it kind of all just shook me up at once.
I have COVID, and
It's like anything else, that you, doesn't matter if it's a mental issue, a physical issue, an addiction, you're gonna have bad days. It's gonna be days where it was bad, and I could just tell
basically
it was one of those days.
a calm spot to talk about this. I've been going through a depression recently. It's gotten pretty bad at times, and no, I've been going through some stuff, and I hope any of you watching this, maybe you're also going through some stuff, and I just hope you know that there's other people out there that also are going through the same thing. So it's not just...
But I also knew you were strong enough to withstand those days now. Some of the stuff that's in this documentary, you could tell that you weren't as strong as you once were, but I totally believe that you got a good support system now, not only your family, but you got really good friends here that would listen to you. And I was sad that you were having a bad day, but I wasn't worried that you were going to do anything.
It sucked. Yeah, I especially for someone who's so sensitive to changes in their mood and body. Experiencing all the side effects of medications and the kind of ups and downs and the derealization sort of feeling. It was a lot for you to go through to kind of find one that worked. And as a parent, it's difficult to know your kid is in distress like that. And I think it was like 3 or 4 medications before we found the kind of combination that was going to work. And you know, it kind of came with all these mood changes. This kind of, you know, one of them had you like up in kind of a manic sort of phase, which hasn't really been repeated since then. So it's not a fun experience to try to find a medication that's going to work. I mean, once you settle into it, and one that does work, it's a, in your case, a big benefit, I think.
And what was your initial like reaction when you found out I had attempted suicide?
I guess I was it was shock, of course. And I mean, nobody wants to hear that. All the details, you know, and having not being in the same town, like, I wasn't able to kind of see the progression that led there, which I think made it more of a shock. But, you know, mostly I was just concerned about you, and I wanted to get to you as quickly as possible and let you know that I loved you and that we were going to work stuff out so that that wouldn't happen again, hopefully. And I know you've had some dips since then, but I don't think we've been quite to that extreme since that one episode.
We all look like Satan at night. When we're waiting for the red light to turn green.
And what was your, I guess, opinion on like the hospital system?
No, I did come and visit, remember? So, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's a bigger town. They seem to have a plan worked out. But yeah, anytime I would call, and I called every day, sometimes a couple times a day, they understood. They didn't like give me a hard time or anything. They gave me a report on how you were doing. I think I could only talk to you once a day, but they would give me information. They told me what medicines you were taking, how you were doing, what the schedule was, that you were kind of making progress in groups and therapy and stuff. Even like some of the side effects of some of the medication that you were starting. And then when I went to visit, I thought they had it pretty well managed. Like it was better than I was expecting. So, you know, it also seemed like they had thought through like how to make it not like a adult mental hospital or something, or like a juvie type situation, which, you know, I know you may have some overlap between some of the populations, but they made it seem more like a treatment, a place where you would get treatment rather than a place where you had, you know, they had to act like prison guards or something.
They probably have the oldest phones I've ever.
Oh yeah.
The phone's connected to the wall.
Yeah, that's the phones for most of my life. So.
What was your experience like in a mental facility?
Well, whenever I first went to the facility, I think it was the first time I had ever cut and my mom had found out. And I had gone to the hospital fully expecting that I would just kind of be like a warning and I wouldn't go anywhere. But they recommended me to go to the mental hospital, so I had gone there, and since I was too young, they put me with a bunch of teen boys. It was called Lincoln Prairie, which is notoriously, even among like a couple therapists, not a great mental hospital. It was kind of rough because I didn't have like any family or anything in the hospital. And then the teenage boys, they were hyperactive. They were very fighting because in the mental hospital, the section I was in, it was for mental health, but it was also for like people who didn't have families. It was like an adoption kind of thing. I believe it was helpful in some ways, but like I said, I felt kind of in danger. So if anything, if I do ever go back to the mental hospital at any point, I believe I would want to go to a different mental hospital, one with like adults and like where it's safer for me myself, because I did not feel 100% safe in that hospital. But if I did, and I did go to like a safer hospital, I think it would have helped. And I think the hospital that I did go to, whenever I did feel in danger, did help a bit in itself.
So tell me, when did you start noticing that mentally you just knew that something wasn't right, something was a little off?
So I initially noticed when I was very young, but later it got serious for me when I had started high school. So it began with like, you know, just being sad all the time, not having energy to do anything. And then it sort of became this thing that had energy in it, but it was still extremely sad. So now I had not only the sadness, but I had the energy to do things about the sadness. So that's when like self-harm came in. That's when the suicide attempt came in. So that's kind of where things got serious, I would say.
I didn't understand.
And I had periods of time where, like over the summer, I'd have like really bad sleep problems. Like I just couldn't go to bed. I don't know why. And every day I couldn't sleep. It'd just get more and more, you know, not good. So I think high school definitely is when I first noticed like the very serious aspects of it.
I didn't expect it to be this hot out. It's been like
freezing for the past couple of days?
So I initially noticed something was wrong. Like I realized like, okay, this is no longer normal. When I was sitting on a train, which was the train I took to school every day because I lived in downtown Nashville, and I was messing with a pencil on my arm, and I just kept going further and further down into my skin, and eventually became this massive wound. And then I realized, like, why did I just do that? Like, what does that mean? And I just thought about it for a long time, and I was like, I think I'm having like thoughts of hurting myself and acting on them, but it's kind of like a subconscious thing. But then it sort of became something that like I would do consistently, and I knew I was doing it now. I knew what the purpose was, and I knew, you know, how it would help me in some ways. So initially I had lied to my mom, and I told her, because she had obviously seen everything that was going on with my arm. I was like, I just fell. It's kind of hard to believe, but I had told her that, and eventually it sort of became like, I became more truthful with her. I was like, I think like I'm starting to hurt myself, I'm starting to feel really sad, I need some help. But the first, when it got really serious was when obviously I had attempted suicide. And that is when she sort of started going a little crazy about everything. And I guess it kind of hit her that it was very real. And the whole thing with the meds was not good. It almost felt like I was never really myself, because I was on, I was changing meds like weekly, which sort of, it made it kind of difficult to tell if I was actually feeling something or if it was just the meds making me feel this way. But yeah, I had started the meds later afterward. So the weird thing is, like, when I had gone up there, it wasn't originally to kill myself. I had just gone up there to be like, all right, I need some time to think. Like I just need to get these thoughts out of my head. So I had went up there, and I was looking over the edge, and I was like, I was starting to think about it. Somehow that thought just popped into my mind, and I had sort of lifted myself up a little bit to kind of get over. And when I was up there, I had looked down, because before cheer practice, the cheerleaders were all kind of walking around, and my friend was part of the cheer team. And when I had looked down there, he was down there looking up at me. He didn't know what I was doing. That kind of made me, back away. And he had told me later, like, he had saw me going up there, and he didn't know what I was doing, but he felt something was off. And I feel like he kind of saved me there. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I think it was more so like, because I have sort of obsessive compulsive stuff, all of these sort of thoughts and worries were attacking me at once, when in reality, life wasn't that bad. It was, obviously school wasn't helping. I was at a magnet school at the time. But it was more so like thoughts sort of attacking my conscience, being like, you're not a good person, you're not, this or whatever. But that sort of was the driving factor for it. I was almost like literally going insane because of all these thoughts constantly about even stuff that didn't really matter, but it made it seem like it was a big deal to me.
Okay.
I mean, some people think like that depression, and especially among a teen population, and even like self-harm, that it's just sad. But I mean, you kind of kept your sense of humor, even if the sense of humor went dark for a while. But I mean, you would still say funny things.
Why are you holding it upside down? Oh shit. Hi, Bo. Why are you holding it sideways? Hi, Bo. Girl.
Like, and you would still respond to jokes. Like, I remember even like in the first time in the hospital, like, part of what we did, you know, is just joke around a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that. And I think it was almost like a way of saying, like, you're still you, I'm still me, and we're gonna be okay. Like, kind of reestablishing that, because we've always kind of just, like, a lot of our relationship is making stupid jokes with one another. Sometimes, you know, maybe a little dark or whatever. But it was like a way to, like, reestablish that, you know, all of this isn't changing anything inherent in our connection. And I think that's useful. Like, if I would have just come in like a really concerned parent and talked to you like we were on a TV show, I think that would have scared you. But like the idea of like me coming in and just like we happen to see each other and, you know, we're gonna goof around a little, you know, I think that was a natural thing for us. So I think reestablishing that we still have this natural connection that isn't tough to fall into, I thought that was, you know, that was helpful. So, jokes, check.
Well, I'm headed back down home, 'cause I've been too long alone. I went and tried my chances on the sea.
Oh, nice!
Well, my shipping friends went down, sent me roving all around. Give my hopes and heart some place to sleep. They say the moon it pulls the sea, and I can feel it pulling me.
Love you, buddy.
Love you.